Hello and welcome to this week's episode of my podcast, The Pocket Stylist. I'm Lisa Talbot, and today I am joined by a guest. Now, this guest has been in my world actually now since lockdown, and I've got I'm really, really pleased she's come to chat to me today because this story is brilliant actually because it goes in all different directions, and I love that. So I'm joined today by Sarah Sangster. Sarah, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for trying. I'll keep meaning to come on this, and I'm just excited that it's finally happening.
Yeah, I know. We've been kind of planning this for a while, haven't we? So as I alluded to, I met you kind of 5 years ago, but I think it would be really nice for you to tell the listeners, who you are, a little bit about you, what you do, and kind of almost why and how you came into my world, and then we can evolve our conversation from there because there is so much to chat about.
Yeah, great. So, as Lisa said, I'm Sarah Sangster. I'm a sales and marketing strategist, and I own a marketing agency. So that's my background. I've always been in sales and marketing since leaving school at 16, and it's evolved. And often tell people that I grew up in an analog world, and was an adult in the digital world. So my childhood was analog, no mobile phones, and then as I turned into an adult, then digital was a thing. So as the world has changed and the mediums of sales and marketing has changed into digital, I still go with all of the strategies and tactics that are fundamentally marketing and sales. And that's what I stand by and believe in, absolutely. And we met by Clubhouse, which was great because back then you'd only hear people's voices.
Mm.
And I think that the one thing that connected me and Lisa was horses. Was like she was like, oh, I've got a horse. I was like, I've got a horse. And actually I wrote a blog recently about the fact that, the common things often bring people together for the right reasons. And so, yeah, that's why we connected, which was really great. And we stayed in contact all this time. And actually, only maybe 2 years ago, we met in
We met,
person.
didn't we?
Yeah. And so that was really funny. And she was a bit like, oh, you look just like your picture. And so that's one of the things I, really like people to do is look like themselves when they're on digital in the same sort they do in real life. So that was
Yeah.
really great. And you was the same as well.
I think it's really interesting, isn't it? Because listen, I have a podcast because I love to talk. And I
Mm,
think Clubhouse, when it came out, was brilliant because I'm very, very tonal. And I much prefer to listen to podcast and read a book and I'm, or write a blog or things like that. So for me, Clubhouse was brilliant because I just think tone of voice is brilliant. I think you can hear excitement, you can hear sadness, you can hear empathy, you can hear so much in someone's voice. Um,
yeah.
and I just happen to be quite tonal anyway. So yeah, we spoke for well, probably a good year. We would jump in and out of the rooms, and I have to say, without you, certain things in my business would probably not be where they are because I remember even when we first met, you said something about, well, what's your funnel? And I'd never forget thinking, what on earth is a funnel? And my business had been running for what, 10 years, something like that before. And then you explained what a funnel is and how it works and blah blah blah, and obviously you have taught me so much over the years of you being in my world because you see things in a very different way to me because that's your job and my job
Yeah.
is my job. And I think that's really interesting. I think that's where great people connect, and that's how we support each other and we work with each other and things like that because it's true, someone like me who's a creative just goes, well, I'm brilliant, I'm a brilliant stylist, and this is how I do it. And you're like, yeah, but have you thought about doing this? Have you thought about doing that? And I go, oh, oh yeah, well, I could do that, couldn't I? And I think that's where we've always kind of got on, and I've shared styling hints and tips, with you as well. But
Yeah.
so we've kind of been in each other's world for that long time.
Yeah, and
But
it's a good point you make about there's a couple of things, like the voice thing is really good because especially in lockdown when people are working from home, and I've spent a long time doing online courses and jumping on Zoom way before lockdown. So it's not alien to me. So I didn't have to transition myself
mhm.
onto a digital space away from where people are so used to doing face-to-face stuff. So I found that really easy. So helping other people to do that was great. And voice, you're not thinking about your body language and what you look like and what you're wearing. Is your hair good? And that's a huge thing for, especially for women going into a digital space, is that most men will jump on and do like a quick video, or jump on and do a course, and they're doing is like turning up. Where for us, it's like, well, what am I wearing? What's my hair look like? Have I got my makeup on? Am I having a bad hair day? All of this stuff is positioning ourselves for like, oh, I can't do it. Oh,
Yeah,
it's too
yeah.
hard. I just won't do it. And so Clubhouse leveled the playing field, because both men and women could show up in that space, and because you're only hearing your voice and people can hear the warmth and the tonal, from your voice, you don't have to think about that. And so it's a really great way for people, and whoever started Clubhouse, I can't think who it is now, the name's gone left me, but they must have thought, like, come on, we need to get people in this digital
It was
space, and this is going to
connection,
be a
wasn't
really
it?
great way, yeah, for people to still be connected, but without having to get on another Zoom call, another
Yeah, yeah.
thing where you've got loads of people. It's just like that live radio thing, and so that's really important. And I think that I am, and I was at school dyslexic, so I'm a dyslexic thinker. So I position myself like that on LinkedIn as well, like a lot of people do. But I had serious learning problems, and so I found it very difficult to learn at school, and found ways to, because obviously I didn't know what dyslexia was. I just thought that's what I did, and why did I find it so much harder than everybody else? But I find it easy to have complex problems and break them down so I can understand them. I'm really good at explaining to other people, and that's sort of one of my superpowers, if you want to call it that. So when people say, well, I've run my business for so many years and it's worked, and then but now it's not, and so they've gone on a really nice wave of, like, people buying face to face and everything. And as digital's changed, all of a sudden, it's harder. There's benefits to it, but there's also, some pros and cons to it. And so being able to say to people, that's great, well, let's just do what you've done and it's worked for years, and let's just make it a little bit better. So let's have a funnel, let's have a lead magnet, let's have a landing page, let's make sure you've got a website. And so I can see the problems very quickly, but then unpick them and explain them, and then build them back up again and show other people. And that's one of the things that I've always been able to do, look at stuff in a very strategic way, and it comes like second nature to me. And so I'm always wanting to help other people to be able to understand, because I know what it feels like when you don't understand stuff, and it feels really frustrating.
Yeah, and I think that's really interesting what you say, because I think and I think we've all done it. I think for anyone who has run a business, etc., we become very much, and I can use myself as an example. We become very in the business, and we don't kind of look up, because we kind of just keep going. Whether it's creating social media, whether it's writing blogs, whether it's going to events, we just keep going. But
Yeah,
actually, sometimes, very much like I tell people to pause with their wardrobe, we have to pause with our business and go, okay, the world has changed. It's changed for this, it's changed for that. It's how do we reach people? It's doing things differently. And for somebody in business who that's not their forte, it can become a little bit, you feel like you're stuck. But when you have someone like you, and I'm very lucky that you're in my world for these reasons, you go, well, hang on a minute, you might have done it that way now, but why didn't you do this? And why didn't you do that? And when I went to Spirit of Christmas, I took my little thank you cards, but that was only thanks to you, because you were like, you know what, just give them out. And on the back it had 5 top tips for confidence from clothing.
yeah.
But little things like that I wouldn't have even thought of. So I think you're absolutely right, and I think that that's where it is. But over the past 5 years, although you've been running your business, things kind of went in a little bit of a different direction, didn't they, to start with? So you were a business
Yeah,
owner that took, actually, you were in enforced different direction, didn't you? Tell the listeners a little bit about that.
yeah. So and I want to start with saying that nobody sort of like starts life out going, I want to be a business owner, because it's like, honestly, like sometimes the worst job in the world, because you've just got to be responsible for everything. But there's always a reason for doing something. Like, there's always a reason why you start your own business, because you've got a passion, you don't like working for other people, you want freedom, you want to control and everything else. And I know that when I was younger, I knew I wanted a family. And so I positioned myself that I orchestrated that when I had children that I would be able to have the freedom like my mum did. She worked part time, but then had a business herself. And so that was a great inspiration for me. And then 4 years ago, I got diagnosed with breast cancer. And so found a lump, went to the doctors, and and it then moved very, very quickly because I had a very aggressive breast cancer. And so from being diagnosed, having my scan and having the taken away tissue taken away and to be tested, I started chemo, and so it was like a shock to the system. My children were, in primary school, first year at senior school, so it's like they're you can't hide stuff from kids that age because, and not that we would, but it's I knew I was going to lose my hair really quickly. I was going to go through chemo and then have an operation, single mastectomy, and then go on to radiotherapy. So it was like throwing everything
Yeah,
at it.
yeah,
And the worry that goes into that, but the benefits of that, or there's pros and cons to everything that you do in life. The fact that I could still maintain my business and do stuff on my terms like was even more important than when I had children, I suppose, because I could still show up and do the things, and I still did stuff online and still worked with clients. I did lose clients because they were like, "Oh, you've got too much going on," and stuff, which I thought was quite hard. Loyalty wasn't there for some of those people, which is fine. Um, but that was a huge change for me. Did I have the security of having a job? No, but then I wouldn't have been able to do the job anyway because like I was so ill, so ill with all the chemo and stuff, and had a really bad time. And if I'm one of those things, I'm a really, really positive person that people say, "Oh God, how do you stay so positive through all of it?" And I was, but when they say like 1 in 100 people will get this, I was the one. I was the one that had, the infection, that had
yeah,
the liver problem off the back of chemo and stuff like that. And sometimes you can feel like, oh God, it's like and something else that's going
yeah,
to go
yeah.
wrong and I've got to bounce back from. But I just reminded myself at every junction that I had two girls watching me. And so this was going to also be important for their lives going forward, that if mum can get through this and we can get through stuff as well. So building resilience for them as well was really important for me. And
Hmm.
I always like to model what I do with clients and stuff as well. So I'm just going to say, do this and not do it myself. What's the point? It doesn't show any integrity in what I'm doing. So that was really important. But part of that process is that I lost my hair and I completely lost my identity because I've always had I've always had dark hair. Sometimes it was red, but I've always had a bob. And all of a sudden I had no hair. And I'm not and great for the people that feel that they can go out with a bald head, but it just wasn't me. It wasn't a good look for me. I put on a huge amount of weight, and luckily I got a great wig funded by the NHS, which is really, really good. But all of a sudden, I just completely lost my identity. And actually, I can remember having quite a few conversations with you about, like, what do I wear? What do I do? And today, anybody that knows the Scamp and Do brand, I'm wearing a Scamp and Do dress, which I wear a lot of. Most of my wardrobe is actually Scamp and Do now. But I had a super scarf actually given to me by a friend, and so that color, bringing color into my
Yeah.
life again, was really important because I was always wore a lot of black, but I couldn't wear black anymore because my skin tone had changed and everything else. So
But
I
that's
had to
really,
reinvent myself.
I was
Yeah,
going to say that's really interesting, isn't it? Because we you said about this before when you said about the color black, and obviously black was probably what, like you said, what you wore before. It was a bit of your identity, and
mm,
actually, even the fact you couldn't wear black because your skin, it really, really obviously dulled the skin tone and made you look quite grey out. But
yeah,
it changed who you were as a person. So you almost had to start again and go, right, I need to reinvent the person I am whilst you had no hair. And
yeah,
it's lovely to see now that you stayed with the whole colour theme. But
yeah,
so from obviously that point, how did you start to kind of, I suppose, get back to the person you were, but almost reinvent the person that you were? They
yeah,
obviously your family knew you as you and you're still the same person. But from a inside you? How did you get that back?
I think that when we went through COVID, and I had this conversation with a lot of people, is that when people were coming out of COVID and coming out of lockdown, a couple of people said, well, I don't want to do this going forward. I don't want to go back to
Mm-hmm.
the office. I don't want to, and lots of businesses still do hybrid, which is great, absolutely amazing for women that also want to have a family, that they're not being forced to always be in the office. And so I used to say to people, well, work out what your non-negotiables are. Like coming out of this, what will you not do and what do you want to do? And I did the same for myself. Like, when you have major milestones in your life, whether it is a cancer diagnosis or whether it is having a baby or whether it is going through the menopause or changing roles, it's a really great opportunity to say, moving forward, I don't want this to happen. But most
Yeah,
people say, moving forward, I want this, I want this, I want this. And actually, it leaves the non-negotiables completely open and exposed. And so we hear about people, 1st January, my New Year's resolutions are this, this, and this. But how about if we turned it around and said, this year, I'm not going to do this, this, and this.
oh
I'm
my
not
God, I
going
love
to
that.
yeah, I'm not going to let people waste my time. I'm not going to work with people that don't respect me. I'm not going to give energy to something that isn't going to serve me, rather than go, I want, I want, I want. Because if you say what's not going to happen, it opens up the world to loads of possibilities rather
Yeah.
than just limiting yourself to one or two things because that's what you want this year. And so rather than just going, why not go at the start of the week? What am I not going to do? And it's actually in my book, like people that work with me get the motherboard book, and it's like, what are the things that are my risk factors? What are things that I can't let happen this week to be able to be successful? And I
Mm-hmm.
suppose when I was coming out of my cancer diagnosis, I was like, well, how do I want to? How do I want things to happen moving forward? How do I want things to change for me to live life better, and thinking that at any time, any of us could get hit by a bus.
Mm-hmm.
But a cancer diagnosis, knowing that your time could or might be up, life changes. But here's the reality: we're all terminal. We're all going to die
Yeah,
at
at
some
some
point.
point.
Just because you don't know what day it's going to happen, even if you've got cancer diagnosis, you don't know what day it's going to happen. They might say, "Oh, you've got 12 months to live, or 4 years to live, or whatever." And so you feel that void of space and go, right, well, I've got to fit in as much as I can. But why don't we do that anyway? And so it's about building those non-negotiables moving forward. And so I wore black because I thought that black would make me look smaller, because at my heaviest, I was 128 kgs, size 22.
Okay.
Now, did black make me look slimmer? Probably not. It made me probably look big and black, like in reality,
Mm-hmm.
rather than big and pink or big and yellow or big and white and, whatever. I know there's a lots of colours, that do give you an illusion, but actually lines and listening to a lot of your stuff and podcasts and ideas and clothing ideas. And when I've said, what about this? And you're like, oh, yeah, that line works really well. It's more about working with what you've got and how you want to show up. Like I like neon. I like, this type of thing. I like my big colourful scarves. I like to be recognised now when I'm out. I don't shy away. I want to put myself out there. I want to have a successful business. And I want people to say, and I do get it a lot now. My daughter, we go to Gosh with my daughter quite a lot, and people often say to me, I love your trainers. I wish I had the confidence to wear bright blue and pink trainers, because I love the Adidas, style. And I wear a bright dress, matching trainers, a big scarf, and go, oh my god, you look so cool, you look so, and that makes me feel amazing that someone has
Mm-hmm.
actually taken the time to say you look really nice. Where before, would someone say I look really nice in black? No. Why would they? Why would anyone say, oh, you look really good for a funeral? It's like,
Yeah,
that's all
yeah.
it's good for.
Yeah, I'm going to
um you know
unpick because this is brilliant, right? But I want to go back. First of all, you said about obviously everybody's terminal, and it was really interesting when I can't even remember what I was doing this way. I was going to the train or something, and I was listening to something on the radio, and somebody said, "Why does it take people time when they're dying to suddenly start living?" And it's really
yeah,
interesting. And that kind of when you said that, I was like, oh my God, that's so true. Because actually, we should be living. We should be
Yeah.
living and not worrying. Which it should not be the other way around. So that
Mm.
was one thing which I found really interesting. And then you mentioned something, you said motherboard, right? So
Mm.
for the ladies or anyone that's listening to this podcast, the motherboard, I think we need to kind of just tell people what the motherboard is. It's really interesting. My daughter and her friend call me the mothership. And when you're like, they say, oh, the mothership. And I think, oh my God, Maisie, but she kind of alludes to it with her friend and they
Yeah.
all call me the mothership. So but just go back, right? Because I
Okay.
know what the motherboard is, but I think there might be ladies saying they might be going, well, what is the motherboard? And then you also made reference to gosh, which I know
Yeah.
what gosh is, but again, some people might not. You don't have to go into the
Okay.
ins and outs of
Yeah, yeah, that's fine.
why you go there, but I
Yeah.
think it just brings context back because it's such an interesting conversation. I think we just need to track back. So first of all, what is the motherboard?
The motherboard is my signature program that I work with predominantly women that want to build a business based on their ambition, not what someone says success is.
Yeah.
So if your idea of success is have it having a job that is a business, so you've got freedom of choice and how you show up. And actually, I was talking to someone yesterday about lifestyle businesses, which I hate people that try and degrade people for having a lifestyle business. Every business is a lifestyle choice. So every business is a lifestyle. But if your lifestyle is that you want to work Monday to Friday and have all your weekends off and have every school holidays off, then I'll help you to make that happen in terms of building a business on your terms, not on someone saying, oh, you need to earn 10 grand a month or you need to do this. I don't prescribe to any of that stuff. It's about predictive revenue, not consistent revenue. It's a completely different thing. And the motherboard, I worked in computers a long time ago. I used to sell computers to education.
I never
And I
knew
used
that.
to, yeah, yeah. So
Oh.
I worked for Simply Computers in Walthamstow, and I was on the education sales team. And I used to love the fact that when you used to be able to go down to the factory, that it all started with the motherboard. It was the central thing that everything ran out to for the computer. It's called the motherboard. So everything goes in a traditional computer. Everything got runs. So whether it's the screens, the memory, everything loads into the motherboard, and it's one central place where everything works from. So I have 13 areas, which I won't go into now, but 13 areas that if you can get all of these things working really, really well, you'll have the business that you want to happen, whether it's you, time, numbers, prospecting, captures, delivery, sales, whatever. If we can rate all of those things at high, then you'll be having the business of your dreams that you want to have. And so that's why I called it the motherboard.
I
And
never
I work
knew
with
that.
mums. Yeah.
I never knew that. That makes absolute sense now. That I listen, I've known it, I've known about it. I love the concept, but I've never
Yeah, yeah,
known why. Oh,
yeah.
brilliant.
So I have a book, I have a planner that people work from that every week they go through the 13 areas and say, right, what am I doing about myself? What am I doing about my numbers? What am I doing about sales? Whatever. And I help people to tick all the boxes and do everything that they need to do without the overwhelm and everything like that. And I love it. It's a mixture of coaching and doing because not everybody's got the time or the expertise or the money to pay for someone to do stuff for them. So it's included. I have a platform, I have CRM systems, everything. Like if I could, I just want to make life as easy as possible for
Hmm.
people. And I predominantly work with mums. Um, I don't like to say mumpreneurs or business mum. It's a common denominator that the women that I get the most out of and enjoy working with often will have a family or have
Yeah,
had
yeah,
a family, and that the time that they spend with their children, even if they're grown up, is they'll drop anything for them,
yeah,
and
yeah.
that's what I love to do. Yeah.
Ah,
And
and what's
then in
gosh?
terms,
What was gosh?
gosh, Great Ormond Street Hospital,
Ah,
we've been unfortunately going backwards and forwards to gosh since my eldest Ruby, who's 16 now, was baby. And now my other daughter, who's 14, is an undergosh because she's got juvenile arthritis. So we're backwards and forwards there a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah.
So again, I take my laptop with me and I get work done, and that's my business by design. Yeah,
Yeah, I know. And I think it would just, because some ladies, when you hear acronyms, you go, what is that? So now
yeah,
I want to take it back because I think
mm,
what's really interesting, you said as well, isn't it better to say what you don't want rather than what you want, right?
yeah.
So when you went through, I'm going to take this right back to style and fashion again now. When you said about, you didn't want to wear black and whatever, after you came out of your treatment,
Mm.
what did you say to yourself then of I don't want from a clothing and kind of a style perspective?
I think I've always loved clothes, and and the weight thing was always such a huge barrier for me because when I was a teenager, I was a size 16, and back then there wasn't much choice for plus size clothing.
Yeah.
And I always, like lots of my friends used to shop from places like Jane Norman, and back then,
Yeah,
in
yeah,
the
I remember them.
nineties, wasn't it? Like the having a Jane Norman bag as your PE bag was like the height of sophistication,
They used to
and
have one of those in Slough, and it was like your Saturday kind of outing. Let's go to Jane
yeah,
Norman in Slough. I
yeah.
mean, I'm
So
not
I
sure
never
many of
even
us would go
walked
to
into the
Slough now
shop.
anyway.
Yeah, I never even walked into the shop because I thought, well, they go up to like a
Yeah,
size 12 or something, and I was like, why upset myself
yeah.
by going, you can't have that, you can't have that. So I stuck to my shops that I knew that I could do. And Next was one of them. Like Next was a shop where I could wear nice clothes. And then when I was turned 16, and I got actually got an evening job because I lived near Lakeside. So I grew up in
Okay.
Hornchurch, and Lakeside was this new big,
It's huge, wasn't it?
one of a kind mall that opened up type thing. And I was like, and so I was able to finish school, get on a bus outside of school, and arrive at Lakeside, half an hour later and they opened to 11 o'clock at night. So that was my evening job. And that was great. I did that 2 nights a week, and Mum come pick me up at like 11 o'clock,
Yeah, yeah.
and that was great. And then, so I always then I thought, oh well, I can buy anything in here because they go up to size 18. So six, I wasn't the biggest, I was 16, and I got great clothes, and I could wear all the stuff that everyone else was wearing. I didn't have a thing, so I always had that. You can't have that because you're overweight, because you're plus size, because you're this, you're that, and so Next clothing was like my safety net of going, I can have
Hmm.
whatever I want and still
Yeah.
look really nice. And then when I put on even more weight, and obviously the way in which clothing works now, um, you can get like I bought clothes from, like, Yours is a really good brand that I used to buy. Some clothes, well, a lot of it isn't my style, but leggings and cool trousers and dresses, Yours clothing was a really great place for me. But coming out of my cancer diagnosis, I was like, well, I know I don't want to go back to just wearing black all the time. I do want to add colour into it. I fell in love with the brand Scamp and Do. They go up to really large sizes, so really size inclusive. And I still feel really good in what I'm wearing.
Hmm.
And that was really great. So I continued with that. And then I got an opportunity to have, well, I had to, and got an opportunity to have gastric surgery, which I had just at the end of March this year. And so I went from 100, well, my pre-surgery weight was 119 kgs, and I'm currently sitting at 91 kgs. So obviously lost a huge amount of weight so far. But from my heaviest at going through chemo, I was at 127, so I've lost like nearly five, oh, just over 5 stone.
Wow.
And I'm about a large size 16 now. Scamp and Dude, I'm a 16, but probably some of them I could get into a 14. They're quite generously cut. But all of a sudden, I'm choosing clothes that I'd be like, well, I can wear that now. I don't have a huge tummy like I used to have because I had, where I have a
Yeah.
liver problem, had, like a pregnant size tummy all the time and very uncomfortable. Now I can put jeans on and cool wide leg trousers and leggings, and feel like actually I can wear whatever I want and I've got no boundaries. Yes, some things don't suit me because whatever size you are,
Yeah,
some
yeah, yeah,
things aren't going to suit
exactly.
you. But I do have a an hourglass type style I'm 5'4" and I've got wide shoulders and I've got wide hips. So therefore I use that, lots of belts and listening to lots of stuff that you tell me. And so I make the most of that. And so I go, well, I can wear what I want, but still feel good and funky and it's almost like I want to be that funky, yummy mum, but still have my own personality. That's always what I aspire to be.
Yeah, yeah.
And
You
now I
do
feel
have a
like I can
unique
do that.
style. You do have a unique style.
Mm,
You do definitely. Do you think, I know obviously you've referenced the Scamp Dude and I know you
mm.
love it. And I personally think, A, it's a great story. I think it's a great brand. The
Yeah,
fabrics are nice. She's a little bit quirky on some of the things, like the trench coat that she's designed with
yeah,
the neon stripe down the side. They're
mm,
listen, they're gorgeous. Even I can walk in Stamp and Dude and go, oh, I like this. It's a little bit
mm,
different. The Parkers
yeah.
that they do and all that type of thing. But have you found that you've also been opened up to other brands? Whereas before you said, you might have gone, well, I can't go in, for example, when you said Jane Norman, I can't go to Jane Norman.
Mm.
Did you used to think, well, I can't go in there, but now you go, well, I can at least have a look.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm much more open, but it's also, I used to go just for the biggest size and go,
Yeah,
I'll just buy the biggest size. And if it fits me, great. If it doesn't, then, where now I'm a bit like, oh, I don't really know what size I am.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I've never really been that bothered on the size. I've never been like, well, I've tried an 18 on and it's too small, where I hear lots of people go, oh, I absolutely will not
Yeah,
put
yeah,
a
yeah.
14 on. I'm a 12, I'm a 12, I'm a 12. And I feel like it's a number on the back of a bit of clothing. When
And
I used to
they
work
don't
for
all
Next,
correlate.
when I worked for Next and I used to go up, we did big store opening, like flagship store. When I was 17, we opened up the store in Oxford Street. And so I was part of the reopening team that went up to Leicester and had to retag everything and pick the clothes. And it was a really great experience. But all the clothes come in from all the different companies that were making them. So it's not one company
Ah.
making all the clothes, obviously. And so their pattern for that shirt is completely different from that company's pattern for that shirt. So who's to say that the measurements are going to be the same, the fit's going to be the same, but they have a broad range size label on it. So people roughly know what size to pick up.
Mm-hmm.
But it isn't as dead cert. So if I was to go into a shop and pick up, and I once had a coat from Next that was a size 10. I wore a size 16. This coat was a size 10 because it was so oversized. I hated it in a size 16, but at size 10, I really loved it. And I was like, I'm wearing a size 10 today. Did it mean anything? No. It just was, I wore a size 10 because that's the thing I liked, you know?
Mm. And that's really
So it's just a
interesting.
guidance.
And you're so right. And this is where, I shop. I think I put a post up about it. I shopped with a client a couple of weeks ago, and literally the collection of clothing that she left with ranged from, she was a standard. She was probably a size 12.
Mm.
She went from an 8 to a 16.
Yeah.
Those were the clothing that
Mm.
I selected for her for shape, fit, structure,
Yeah.
etc.
Yeah.
And I said, when I shop with a client, I never tell them the sizes. I'm like, there it
Mm.
is, that's yours, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Sometimes we might need to go up, we might need to go down, whatever.
Yeah.
But we start somewhere because it's
Yeah.
more about the shape of the garment, even to the point I went into Windsor. So I'm either 6 to an 8, it top, bottom half. That's kind of
Yeah.
what I've always been. As I've got a little bit older, I've definitely, I would say, filled out a little bit more, which I know. When I went into Nobody's Child the other day, I was looking for a pair of jeans, right?
Mm.
I couldn't even get in a size 8. I'd go to a
Yeah.
10. But it didn't bother me because it was more about
No.
the 8 was so uncomfortable. And I was like,
Yeah,
I can't
absolutely.
wear these tight, done
Yeah.
up. Whereas I went to Anthropology the week after and I got a pair of trousers, which is a 25-inch waist. Now,
Yeah.
they're poles apart, but they're also
Yeah.
different cuts, different fabrics, different. So it's more
Yeah.
like you said, use the sizes as a guide.
Yeah.
Do not fixate about what that number is because
Mm.
it doesn't matter where you shop, whether it's Next, M&S, Couples, Sandro,
Yeah.
wherever, all
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
sizes will mean something completely different to
Yeah.
every single individual. And that's the
Yeah.
bit that I really struggle with, the one size fits all because it doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Certain things might, but primarily it ain't gonna fit. It's
Yeah,
not, because one size does not fit all.
yeah. And I think also losing weight, I've got in the garage at the moment, I've probably got about 10 bags worth of clothes that don't fit me. I've always had lots of clothes. And I think that is the leftover from Next that I because I got an allowance every 6 months. I was able to buy a whole new wardrobe every time, and I never used to get rid of anything. So I was
Yeah, yeah,
like, well, I love this, I love this. I never had anywhere to wear it, but I used to keep it. And I do have like if I see something I like, I'll be like, oh, I really want to buy that. And I think that changing size has enabled me to one get rid of a lot of clothes, and then the ones that I've really liked I have sold on Vinted, or now that Scamp and Jude have their pre-love sales site, I've sold stuff on there to have funds to buy the same dress in the smaller size,
yeah,
which
yeah,
I've done a lot of that. But also my wardrobe has got a huge like it's much smaller, and I've always wanted like dreamed of having just like the purple capsule wardrobe that I could actually, because my dream has always been just to be able to travel the world living out of a suitcase, well, actually living out of a Louis Vuitton case, but I could never afford one of those, so let's not bother. And no one would ever you never put it on a train, would you? You'll put it on a plane or in cargo, because
yeah,
the plate
exactly.
thing you'd either get nicked or damaged. So having a really nice suitcase full of just a wardrobe that's like whatever I wear with it, it's a top or a dress or a pair of trainers, like a
Yeah, yeah,
perfect capsule travel wardrobe. And I think over time I'm getting a lot more choosy because I've
yeah,
got more
yeah,
choice by being smaller. And so yes, I do feel like I've got more choice of going into shops, but I can also go into places like Primark, where before I'd be like, well, I can't go into there because one, the cuts are terrible and they don't really go up to very big sizes. And if they do go to big sizes, they're all the sizes that go first. So I don't get the choice. Where now, because I'm a more of a middly size as a 16, then I do get a choice. And, so I think that going forward, I want that wardrobe that's like, I can just get something out and I'm not going, I've got all of these clothes and I've got absolutely nothing to wear,
mm.
which is what
Which
I've
is,
always done.
and you know what? It's so much of what all people say. And I know,
Mm.
people, some actually, from a stylist perspective, having a wardrobe with so many clothes just makes life really hard.
Yeah,
And even, if people watch my Instagram and my reels and everything, you will see I tops, I repeat trousers, I repeat an
yeah,
outfit. Because at the end of the day, I want my wardrobe to work hard for me. And
yeah,
invariably, if I'm doing different things on different days, I'm seeing different people.
yeah,
I know it sounds silly. If I put the same post up every week, right, people might go, she's worn that before. But in my
mm.
life, I don't see the same people every day. So I'm
But do you
wearing,
think people say like, "Oh, she's worn that before"? Oh, or what? Or do people think, "Oh, she's," because when I wear this dress, I love it when you wear that dress.
yeah, there you go. It's different.
And
See
so I
how,
think I think if people are going to go, oh, you always wear that dress, they're always going to be those types of
yeah,
people, and I'm not interested
100%.
in that. But actually, the one that goes, I love it when you wear, I
Yeah.
love it when you wear that dress. It's really nice on you. And
Hmm.
actually, I think that it's only society that do that. If you think about all of the big business people, like Mark Zuckerberg as an example, he's a classic uniform wearer, isn't he? He
Yep.
wears the same pair of trousers, the same t-shirt, the same trainers, because he hasn't got the time or the wasted thought
Inclination.
power to go, what am I going to wear today?
Yeah.
You know? And so why not have a uniform that makes you feel amazing every day you put it on, that you go, Monday I'm going to wear this dress, Tuesday I could wear this dress or this dress, or it's cold, I might put this pair of trousers with this cardigan instead. And your app's brilliant for that, because you can go on and go, oh, what's my options? I can wear that top, I've got that outfit to put together, or I can just think about that, and I'm not having to go, oh, all these clothes and what am I going to wear? I just want to go, right, tomorrow I'm going to wear this dress. Like I knew I was going to wear this dress today because it's comfortable. It's got the colours I need with it. Yesterday I wore a bright pink dress because I wanted it to fit with my brand. So I've got a really bright pink and black dress so people can recognise me and my brand together. And I had my black sparkly Doc Martens, which I
Yeah.
recently bought off of Vinted. And so I felt good. I felt like I didn't go. Normally I would have gone away for a night with four outfits
Mate,
to
but how
go,
much easier
you
did
know.
that? A, it made your day much easier to pack. right?
Yeah.
When you went, but also it's just so much more almost freeing.
Yeah.
I'm very lucky. It's my job, so my wardrobe does exactly that. And like this morning, I had to go and do something else related to Christmas presents, right?
Mm.
And I thought, right, I'm going to throw my leather trousers on, a t-shirt, and a knitted
Mm.
vest. Easy, because
Yeah.
A, I still feel the heat, right? So then
Yeah.
I had like a raincoat on because it's absolutely hammering down. But that was me done. I'm now
Yeah.
like that for the rest of the day. Unless I go to
Mm.
the horse, I will probably change my trousers so I can put my
Yeah.
boots on. It's having that wardrobe. But then I'm thinking, oh, actually, I'm going for afternoon tea next week with the women's
Mm.
chapter. I could wear those trousers again, but I might put it with a shirt because it's afternoon
Yeah.
tea. But
Yeah.
it is, and clothes. We've always said it. We talk about it goes back actually. So I'm very much about having a wardrobe that works for you to make life easy,
Yeah.
and you're a businesswoman from a motherboard perspective. You want people's business life to be easy.
Mm.
So I use the wardrobe as the tool, right, for my
Mm.
clients, and you
Yeah.
use the motherboard as the tool for your clients. So we're
Yeah.
really similar. We just do different things in our business that help the
Yeah.
people that we work with.
Yeah. And I think that's what people crave most. They crave some sort of structural piece that
Massively.
goes, it's not so rigid that you've got no choice, but it gives you security of going, okay, let's use the wardrobe as an example. This is your space. And in here is everything you need. It's got your clothing, it's got your shoes, it's got your bags, it's got your jewelry, all your accessories, and you don't have to think about it rather than going right over there is a whole load
Mm-hmm.
of jewelry in, and they in their heads go, oh my god, like where am I going to bring all this stuff together? And they just need the structure. Someone years ago said it was like a jelly mold. Like you've got this jelly mold of things. What you put into it, yes, you have to put gelatin and you have to put liquid, but whether you add fruit or sprinkles or extra flavorings, that's what is unique about you, and that's what
Mm-hmm.
I love about whatever it is that somebody does. I want structure. I don't want to feel claustrophobic, but I want someone to just put that nice little arm around me going, here you go. You can
Mm-hmm.
live within this space and feel really comfortable.
Well, I think as a kind of entrepreneur who has that entrepreneurial brain, right? We dip around massively.
Mm-hmm.
We're like, we could do this, we could do this, I could do this,
Yeah.
why not try this? I could do this. And actually though, what ends up happening, we have all these balls, right, floating around, and then you suddenly think, hang on a minute, I need to chase that. I need to reply to that. I need to make sure I've done that. And actually, that's the hardest part because,
Mm.
I have a book and I have a book and I write things down and I tick them off. But then suddenly I
Yeah.
go, hang on a minute, what was 6 pages behind? Whereas
Yeah.
then I think, oh God, yeah, I need to do that. And that's the brain of people like us, whereas you're,
And that's where accountability comes in, because if somebody isn't holding you to account, like say for instance, I remember a couple of weeks ago, I really love bright coloured cardigans. I like cardigans. I'm a cardigan person.
yeah, yeah,
I just love cardigans. And so I've got the Marks and Spencer's trousers with the side stripes.
yep,
That's I've got them in probably 5 or 6 colours. And then I have coordinating cardigans. And I've got this dress and loads of other dresses with loads of colours. And now I got a cardigan with that corally colour. But I also got one that was like orangey. And I remember taking a picture of it and sent it to you and saying, can I wear this colour? Because it's in my dress, but it's quite close to my face. And I
yep.
don't think it's one of my colours. And you was like, no, you can't. See what these shadows does to your face. And I put a pink one on you and went, look, now see what it does to your face. And I was just like, right, good. And I got rid of that cardigan. Like I just took it out of my wardrobe and put it in the pile to get rid of, because it's easy to go, oh, it's that matches and it's not going to make me feel good when I'm out in the day. And
Yeah,
I'm being like,
yeah.
why did I wear this? It doesn't make me feel good and whatever else. And it's that accountability that we gravitate for things that are easy, not the things that are going to serve us necessarily. So your list of things to do for your business, you're not going to do the hard stuff, the frog eating jobs, because you'll gravitate to the easy things, and then those hard things never happen, and then we get like squirrels, oh squirrel, oh, like. And if
Mm,
you've got any sort of ADHD in you, not that I'm a, whatever, won't go into that today, but you are going to get distracted. And so therefore, if you've not got someone or something structure pulling you back into saying, Have you done your sales activity today? What have you done about your marketing? Have you checked where your numbers are? Who's in your pipeline? If you haven't got that, then you will go, it's now another month and nothing has changed. If
Yeah,
not, it's
yeah.
got worse, you know?
And I think that's, and oh, listen, we could talk forever,
Mm,
but I think that's really interesting because if you think, I mean, there's definitely things that I would not have done in my business without you. 100%. And I think accountability is right because you're saying to me, have you done this? Why haven't you done that? You could
mm,
do this. And
mm,
I think like from my perspective, like where you send me the pictures of the color, the cardigans and things like that,
mm,
I just think you're absolutely right. I think sometimes we don't know what we need until
mm.
someone says you need this, and that goes from
Yeah.
a styling perspective and it goes from a business perspective. So as we wrap this podcast up, right,
Mm,
first of all, I need you to, and I will put this all in the show notes. So if you're listening thinking, oh my goodness, I need to find out what Sarah does and I need to touch base and do more, right, I will put lots of information in the show notes where people can find you. But
yeah.
where is the best place to find you? I know you dip around a lot, and I know you've just done a LinkedIn course for people, but where shall we send people to, kind of come and have a look at you, and they can come and have a look at your wardrobe that you wear over the next few
Yeah.
weeks as well. Yeah, where's the best place?
I'm on all social channels, so Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. I've always bought and gravitated to getting the domains. So if you type in Sarah Sangster, I will hit number one on all of those platforms. It's, an unusual name anyway, but yeah, you'll find me there. And then my business is SANX, SANX. It was actually my husband's nickname at uni, and on his cricket jumper and stuff. It just happened that I said I really like to shorten my business name to Sanks, and Paul was like, "Oh, that was my name on my cricket jersey and rugby jersey at school and uni and stuff," which is just a coincidence, but really cool. So yeah, that's so you can go www.sanks.co.uk and you'll find all of the information and then how to contact me.
Perfect. And I know it's kind of irrelevant because of your lot of digital, etc. But whereabouts in the country are you?
I am in North Essex.
Ah, that's it. Because some
Yeah.
people say to me, "Oh, I love speaking. I love you speaking to her. Where is she from?" Because obviously
Mm,
I interview people from all over the place, and I think sometimes because they might say to you, "Oh, actually, I've got an event in London." At which
mm.
point I know that you jump on a train and whatever. We had the
Yeah.
discussion about the trains for you getting into Birmingham this week. So I really hope
Yeah, parents grew up in East London, moved out to Hornchurch,
ah.
and then we sort of just moved it out a bit further. So we're in Braintree, which is, yeah, North Essex.
Ah, so
Mm.
listen, thank you because we've covered so much. We've talked about business, we've talked about
Yep.
your weight loss, we've talked about your and kind of your wardrobe. We've given Scamp and Dude an amazing kind of plug, which is
Yes.
fantastic for them. I might tag them in this podcast
Yeah,
actually.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But do you know what I think? Although we giggle, right? I think sometimes when you find something you love, then if someone said to you, Sarah, you've got to go and present in Westminster, for example,
Mm.
automatically you're going to go, oh, I've either got something in my wardrobe, or do you know what? I'm going straight to Scamp and Dude. So I'm of the opinion that if you find something you love, it's a bit like me, if I really was desperate for a dress or something that I had to, I would go straight to All Saints. It's my brand, I
Yeah.
love it. It suits me. I know my shape. So we all have that
Mm.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, but everything for everyone listening is in the show notes. I appreciate you coming on and sharing your story. We could probably talk even longer, but we can't really. And for anyone who is listening, I will speak to you and I will see you all next week because we've got a few podcasts coming up now in the run up to Christmas. I'm going to make your life a little bit easier, a little bit stress free, and you can get dressed without overthinking. So, Sarah, thank you so much for joining me.
No, thank you.
Everybody else, thank you so much for listening, and I will speak to you all next week. Bye bye. Bye, Sarah.